Hey everyone, I'm Owl, and welcome back to Dramatical Murder. Last episode, well, we got back from Mr. Jerkface Meek's place, and we discovered all together where Granny was being held, and we went there to rescue her. Turns out that dry juice was there. We spoke to Mizuki, who had been mind controlled or something by morphine. Then we had some sort of episode with him, and then we passed out and we got brought home, and now we woke up and Ren is like, "Are you okay, man?" And we're like, "Yeah." And then we're like, "Let's go downstairs." So yeah, let's do that. And to go. I get up from my bed to leave and hold Ren in my arms with me. Let's see what adventure awaits us today. Maybe we'll get raped for real. How much fun is that? Ouch. It feels like an awful violent vibration keeps moving through my body. But I smell the scent of a lot of food coming from the hallway and forget the pain for a little while. Granny must have made something. Granny, I'm so glad she's safe. Since happiness can't exactly fill my stomach, I go downstairs. Hi friends! How you doing, buddies? Ooh, so many delicious choices in front of me. Yum yum. When I enter the living room, Kushiku, Noise, and Clear are all sitting at the dining room table. Mink is sitting on the couch in the other room by himself. What a creep. On the table is food that Granny has lined up, and my stomach starts to rumble. Finally up, Alba. Master! Yeah, Ren, I came to visit. Hey. How you doing? Okay, I'm not feeling too great. Of course you wouldn't. Kushiko looks down and lets out a small sigh. The atmosphere around everyone here gives me the feeling that they're all tired. Well, of course they'd be. Something unbelievable happened back there. How's Mizuki? Mizuki and the rest of the dry juice members are all in the hospital. It seems like none of them have woken up yet. Whoa, weren't there like 50 of them? How are they housing like 50 new patients? Jeez, okay. Back then, I confronted Mizuki as he was about to load Granny into that car. I don't know what would have happened. Wait, I don't know if what happened was a dream or reality, but I realize now that both Mizuki and I fell down. Did something happen to us? There's only one thing I can clearly remember, and that is my past. I had forgotten all about it until now, but it suddenly came back to me. Excuse me. Sorry, what? The fact that I had been participating in rhyme a long time ago. Excuse me? What? That's why I somehow knew how to fight Noise in that drive-by. What? This is kind of a huge revelation. But why did I forget that? Not that I vaguely knew how to fight back then, but the fact that I was participating in rhyme? Was there a point in time when I just forgot about it all? What the fuck? So you're awake. Have you been giving me mind-altering drugs, Granny? Granny. Have you been making me forget what those pills you've been giving me? When I look to Granny, she softly grunts and places a plate on the table. I'll help. I'm almost done. You hurry up and sit down too. Okay, I got it. I obediently take an empty seat. Granny, are you sure you're okay now? Worry about yourself first. You're the one who fell flat on your face. I listen and don't say another thing. I saved Granny, but in the end I just made her even more worried. Feeling awkward, I take my plate. At first I just poked it with my chopsticks, feeling depressed, but once I took a bite, all that flew away. It's delicious. Suddenly my appetite grows larger. This game was trying to tell us that if you eat, things will become better. Eat more, everybody. Eat more food. Everyone else couldn't stop eating once they tasted their food either, and in a flash all their plates were in air, ready for more. Claire once again must have eaten at the speed of sound, and Mink didn't come to the table until the last minute. The medicine I take calms me down, and I open my mouth to ask Granny something.
Ba-chan, 聞いてもいい?
Granny, can I ask something?
なんだい?
What?
ばあちゃん連れてったのは本当に水木なのか?
Was Mizuki really the person that took you? Her gaze falls to the teacup in her hands.
そうだよ。
Yes. What the hell, though?
向こうから声をかけてきたんだ。お前のことで用があるから来てほしいって言ってね。
He called me from the back. He said that he wanted something with you and that he wanted me to come too.
最初から少し様子がおかしいとは思ってたんだけど。そしたらいきなり口塞がれて車に乗せられちまったんだよ。
I thought it was odd at first, but then he suddenly gagged me and dragged me into the car.
そうだったんだ。でもなんでばあちゃんを?
So it was him, but why you? Granny stays silent with a troubled look on her face, but slowly opens her mouth to say something.
青葉。それからお前たちも。
Alba, and the rest of you too.
まず礼を言っとかないといけないね。あんたたちのおかげで助かったよ。ありがとう。
First, I haven't given my thanks yet. Because of you all, I'm safe now. Thank you.
ばあちゃん。
Granny.
今からとても重大な話をする。本当は話すべきか迷ったんだけどね。
I get
今もまだ迷ってる。
I get the feeling that something pretty serious is going on here, but we aren't sure what it is. But Granny seems to know, and I'm curious. I'm gonna tell you something very serious right now. The truth is that I should have said this earlier, but all I could do is say it now.
けどこの先のことを考えると、話しておいた方が良さそうだ。
It's a better idea to just tell you now than never.
だからみんな、
To make sure you're listening.
心してよーくお聞き。
Everyone looks at Granny, completely silent.
まず、水木がどうして私をさらったかだけど、あの子は操られていたんだ。
Now, Mizuki was the one who kidnapped me, but he was being manipulated.
モルヒネに行った
By
ろ?
morphine, right?
そうだ。けどそのモルヒネってのはお前たちが思っているのと少し違う。これは私の推測だけど、奴らにはおそらく東映財閥の息がかかってる。
That's pretty heavy, Granny. Yes, but morphine is a little different from what you think it is. This is just my guess, but they were probably under the influence of Tu Inc.
東映
Tu.
この島を買い取ってプラチナジェイルを作ったおっさんか。
The old farts that bought this island and made Platinum jail, huh?
でもモルヒネと東映って何の関係
But
が?
what does morphine have to do with Tu? Granny watched us talk and once again lowered her eyes to her teacup.
私はね、もともとは東映が所有する研究所の研究員だったんだよ。
Wow, Granny, this is kind of some important
これ
information.
20年以上も前の話だけど。
Thank you for revealing this to us now. Wow, okay. I used to be one of Tu's researchers at his lab once. It was 20 years ago.
ばあちゃんが研究員? 東映
And
の?
let me guess, Aoba was a research project, right? Right. Granny, you were a researcher for Tu? Oh, fuck.
ああ。その頃は本土にいてね。研究所と東映のつながりを知るのはずっと後になってからだったけど。
This is really interesting information. Yes, I was one of the original ones. I always knew that Tu and the establishment were growing closer and closer.
東映はずっと昔から脳の研究をしていてね。私がやってたのは簡単に言えば脳の可塑性に関するものだった。
You were working with brain's plasticity. You mean this has nothing to do with the fact that Alba has some terrible headaches and seems to forget things all the time and seems to have a mysterious power by controlling people with his voice that he doesn't realize? Yeah, Granny. What have you been doing exactly? Tu has always been doing neural research. To put it simply, I worked with the brain's plasticity.
脳機能が失われた場合の再配列の可能性、薬物の投与による影響や変化などを調べてたんだよ。
Okay. We tested how some drugs could affect brains that had lost their functionality.
それらは脳に損傷を受けた人たちの回復を助けるための新たな希望を模索する素晴らしい研究になるはずだった。
I was hoping to find the
私
solution
はそう信じていた。
to be able to save people who had damaged brains. I always believed that it was an amazing thing to study.
だけどね、そうじゃなかったんだよ。
But it didn't turn out that way.
投影の本当の目的は人の心を操るありとあらゆる方法を探ることだった。すべてそのための研究だった。
Tool's real objective was to find a way to manipulate people in any and every way possible. That's what the research was for.
たびたび意図が曖昧なプログラムがあるとは思ってたんだけど、その疑問が積み重なってね。調べてみたらある論文が出てきた。
I believe that they often designed secretive programs, and the issues grew over time. When I looked into it, you could see it in their documents.
そこには人間の意識を完全にすり替えるための方法論がずらずらと書かれていた。
In there, I read that they had perfectly substituted a person's consciousness successfully.
それを見たとき、私は生きた心地がしなかった。人を助けるためだと信じてやってきたことが、実は人の仇になるものだったなんて。
Ah, poor Granny. When I saw that, I felt like I was dead. I did it all to save people, and in the end it backfired.
それで私は研究の一切を捨て、研究所を辞めたんだよ。その後は党へと関わることなく、故郷のこの島で静かに人生を終えようと決めていた。
After that, I stopped all of my research and quit. I decided that I'd return to this island, my hometown, and live the rest of my life in peace, without Tool in it.
だけど少し前から連絡が来るようになった。
But
党へからね。
a little while ago, I got a message from Tool.
子宮研究所に戻れという要請だった。けど私は拒否し続けた。党へに関わるのはもう二度とごめんだったからね。
He wrote that there was an emergency at the research center and requested that I return, but I kept refusing. I never want to associate myself with him ever again.
そんな私に業を煮やしたんだろう。奴らは強硬手段に出た。それがあのモルヒネだ。
He must have gotten furious at me. Then they took serious action. That's what morphine is. But hasn't morphine been around forever? Like for ages? Like mysteriously for like maybe at least 5 years, right?
でもだからってどうして水木がドライジュースが巻き込まれたんだ。
Probably because they know you and it's a large amount of people that they could easily control. Yeah. But then why was Mizuki? Why was dry juice caught up in it?
最近この島でちょくちょく若いのが消える事件が起きているだろう。それから薬物の中毒患者みたいなのがうろうろするようになった。
That's pretty heavy stuff, man. Recently, haven't young people all around this island been disappearing? They drug them up, cause them to lose their senses, and make them their patients.
あれは党への研究の犠牲者じゃないかと私は思っている。どこかいじくられた人間をモルモットとして町に放ち、経過を見ているんじゃないかと。
I think those are Two's victims. They coax them in the morphine and then release them into the city, just so they can be monitored for progress.
もしくは失敗した人間を解放しているんじゃないかとね。
Otherwise, they wouldn't have released failed subjects.
失敗した人間。
Failed subjects?
心を操ることに失敗して壊したってことだ。精神が破壊されるからね。廃人になる。
Oh no. Is Mizuki, like, lost his mind now? Oh, that's so sad. He was such a sweetie pie. The ones who can't handle it and break down, their minds are destroyed and they become invalids.
じゃあ成功したやつはどうなるんだ？
Then what happens to the successful ones?
そいつらは回収されてさらなる実験の対象となる。 例えばさっき言った意識のすり替え、自由に操れる人間を作り出すためのね。
Oh my god. They're retrieved and are subjected to even more experiments. Like when I spoke with the people with substituted consciousnesses, they've lost their freedom by then.
水木に関しては私と顔見知りだったという点に目をつけられたんだろう。
Didn't
私が油断しやすいと踏んだんだろうね。
you see it when you looked at Mizuki? He stepped all over me because I was caught unprepared.
そんな研究をして東映は何をするつもりなんだ。このままだとこの島はどうなっちゃうんだよ。
What's Two trying to do with the research? What's gonna happen to the island now?
おそらくこの島の人間の意識を全てすり替えるつもりだろうね。そうすれば東映が自由自在に操れる王国を作ることができる。
Most likely to rid all the people of this island of their minds. That way Two will be able to rule unopposed over his kingdom. That's a very, odd way of getting people to get off your island. Sounds rather costly.
心を操る技術をいち早く確立すれば他国にも売ることができるからね。
Yeah, I see what you mean. If the method to break a person's mind is found quickly enough, he'll also be able to buy other countries.
この旧住民区はそういった目的でさまざまな党への手が入り込んでるのさ。
Two has his hands deep in this old residential district.
ここ数年はおとなしくしていたようだけど、いよいよ本格的に動き出そうとしているのかもしれないね。
It's been peaceful for several years now, but his real plan may be only beginning now. And everyone in this district would become like those test subjects? Haga-san, the stupid brats, Yoshi-san, everyone.
止めねえと。
You have to stop him.
嫌だ。そんなの絶対嫌だ。
I won't let him. I'll never let that happen. As I mutter those words, Granny looks at me with a pained face.
まだ話さなきゃならないことがある。
I thought so.
お前のことだ。
There's still something I have to say, Alba. It's about you.
俺
Me?
お前、私を助けに来た時に途中で気を失っただろ
You lost consciousness when you came to save me, didn't you?
ああ、うん。なんかすごいリアルな夢を見たんだよな。その夢の中で水木とも話したりして。
Oh, yeah. I had a really realistic dream, too. I talked with Mizuki in it.
う。それは夢じゃない。お前が見たのは水木の頭の中だ。
That wasn't a dream. What you were seeing was in Mizuki's head.
え？頭の中？
In his head? Granny makes sure of something and looks into my eyes.
今からとんでもないことを言うよ。
Don't you tell me that it's nothing.
そう簡単には信じられないかもしれないが、お前は人の頭の中に自分の意識を介入させることができ
I
る
fucking
んだ。
knew there was something up there. I don't know if you'll believe me so easily, but you're able to mix your consciousness in with other people's minds. Does this have to do with his voice, too? What? What did she say? My own consciousness inside someone else's head? I don't understand what Granny is saying.
私たちはその能力をスクラップと呼んでい
We
る。
call that ability scrap.
スクラップ。
Scrap?
お前の場合スクラップを引き起こすのは声だ。
I fucking knew it. In your case, you can induce scrap with your voice.
自分が少し感情的に語りかけると人がなぜか言うことを聞いてくれる。お前そういう経験が多いんじゃないか。
I get over emotional when making speeches sometimes, but I listen to why people say some things. Don't you have a lot of those experiences? Yes, he does.
確かに。そういうことはあるけど。
I guess you could say that.
お前の声には 人を引き込む力がある。少し意識して使えば、その声が相手の頭に働きかけて思い通りに動かすことができる。
There's so much potential for evil here. Yep. So much potential right here. Your voice has the power to pull people in. If you decide to put it to use, you'll be able to gain access to other people's minds.
そしてお前が相手をより深く知りたいと、もしくは深く受け入れろと願えば、
That's so
お前
evil.
は相手の頭の中に自分の意識を滑り込ませることもできる。
If you're doing it to someone you know well and have a deep wish or desire, you will most likely be able to plant that into their consciousness with your own.
ただし、頭の中に入り込むということは、人間の肉体という鎧を介さず、無防備な相手の意識と向き合うことになる。
But if you use physical contact with your flesh as a means of contact, the other person will be completely defenseless.
その時のお前の行動、発言次第では、相手の意識を壊すことも可能になるということだ。理論上はね。
So much potential for evil things. When you do that, as soon as you speak, there's a possibility that their mind will break. That's just a theory, though. I was already finding it difficult to understand, Granny, but now, if I speak to someone's consciousness, I can control them? Being able to face them in their own minds? Possibly breaking them? I don't get it at all. It feels like she's speaking in some language I don't understand.
なるほどな。
So that's what it was. Yeah, Mink was onto it. He knew something was up. He is smart. He's a creep, but he's smart. And if I had to choose, I would definitely choose him to back me up. Because he's a scary son of a bitch. You know, I'd rather have him on my team than someone else's. Mink, who was in the other room, walks in at some point, arms folded and leaning on a wall.
スクラップは声そのものに強制力が働くからね。
Scrap is a strong power in your voice. Or Mizuki.
じゃあ、あの変な夢みたいな世界は水木の頭の中だったってことか。
Then, that weird place in my dream was actually Mizuki's mind?
お前以外その世界を見ることはできないから何とも言えないけどね。
I can't say what you saw exactly,
多
but
分そうだろう。
it probably was.
俺、その時に水木と話したんだ。水木はいつもの様子に戻ってて、いろいろ。
I talked to Mizuki back there. He was like he usually is, and
水木が今までどれだけ苦しんでたか、ドライジュースやリブのことで悩んでたかを話してくれて。
he told me about how he was in so much pain and how he was worried about rib and dry juice.
あいつそこまで思い詰めてたのか。
So that's what he was so hung up about.
お前が話したのは水木の意識そのものだろう。嘘偽りの一切ない無防備な
The one
本音だけになった水木だよ。
the one you were speaking
お前
to.
は
Granny, are you done?
どう答えたんだ。
Are you finished? Jeez. The one you were speaking to was Mizuki's consciousness. It was the real Mizuki with no lies, only complete truths. How did you answer?
俺、なぜかその時急に昔のことを思い出して、ライムやってたってこと、なんでかわからないけどすっかり忘れてて。
For some reason, I suddenly remembered my past. I don't understand why I forgot completely about being in rhyme. Kojuko and Noise look at me, so it was like that. It's because I've always refused to participate in rhyme.
でもその本音の水木と話してる時って、ライムともまたなんか違う空間にいたみたいな感じで。
But
よくわかんねえ。何が何だか。
when I was talking to the real Mizuki, it felt weird, like rhyme did. I can't really describe it. What was it?
水木、あの時何か言おうとしてたんだ。モルヒネは 俺たちが思ってるようなもんじゃないって。
Mizuki, he was telling me something that morphine wasn't what he thought it was.
でもその先を言おうとしたら苦しみ出して。
But before he said that, he looks like he was in so much pain. Deep wrinkles form on Granny's brow. She snorts and begins to think. There was still the matter at hand to talk about, but her silence stays heavy. Here, everyone is listening to Granny's words.
これは結果論だから決してお前を責めるわけじゃない。ただ
This is my opinion, and I'm not trying to condemn you at all, but
その時にもしお前が的確な言葉を投げかけていたら
if you had chosen
水木の意識は元に戻ったかもしれないね。
if you had chosen the right words at that time, Mizuki's consciousness might have returned.
それって。
You mean
ひどい言い方をするようだけど、お前のやったことは中途半端に水木の本心を引きずり出して
Granny?
放置したんだよ。
That's a terrible way of putting things. It's a horrible way of saying it, but you could have taken the half-dead Mizuki and drawn out his true feelings, but you left him there.
そのままの意識は例えるなら皮を剥がれてむき出しになった肉みたいなもんだからね。とても脆い。
If you had, for example, peeled off his outer shell and exposed his flesh in a way, it's a very delicate thing.
だから水木は今も意識が戻らない。
So,
そうなんだろう。
oh my god. So, oh, fuck you, Granny. You mean that because you didn't tell us about this shit before, Mizuki is doomed to be a fucking vegetable? Oh, fuck you in the A, Granny. Fuck you.
ああ、そう聞いてる。
Fuck you. Why didn't you tell us this important stuff before? Why weren't you open about this? Why? Urgh. So mad at you right now. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
水木には東映から罠と呼ぶべき刷り込みが行われているはずだ。例えば確信に迫る話をしようとすると頭が割れるように痛むとか。
So now Mizuki's a fucking vegetable and there's nothing we can do about it. Oh, I'm so mad right now. Mizuki was strung along in a trap by two, like when he was feeling the pain of his head splitting apart when he tried to speak to him.
引っ張り出されて放置されたところで東映の罠が働いた。そのせいで水木の意識は壊れてしまったんだろう。
So it's like he was in a bear trap. Great. And it's our fault he stepped on it and died. Technically. When he was dragged out and then left alone, To's trap set off, and that's why his mind has been destroyed.
またこっちに戻ってこられるかは本人の気力次第だ。
If he ever does come back, it'll be from his own willpower.
そんな。
No way. Great, now I was gonna be all emo and depressed. Fuck. Mizuki's mind was destroyed and it was my fault? My vision goes pitch black. Oh no! Alba, no, don't faint. Don't pass out. It's okay. Don't. Oh god. My fault. No, Mizuki.
青葉、お前の力は使い方によっては人を壊してしまう。だからこそ自覚しなければならないんだ。
So you only decide to tell him about his mind-destroying powers after the fact that someone is now a fucking vegetable? Good parenting, Granny. Very good fucking parenting. You are the best, and I am so happy that you are not dead. Honest to God truth. But your power is capable of destroying people. That's why I need to be aware of it.
いつかは話さなければと思っていたんだけど。
I've always been thinking about when I should tell you. Maybe when he went out in public for the first time.
これまでは私がいた。私というカゴがあることでお前を守ることができた。
What? You didn't think that? Oh.
それじゃあダメだ。
Maybe when he goes out with friends, he'll touch someone's arm and be like, "Hey man, can you pass me that beer?" And their head will fucking explode. So pissed right now. I've always been here for you. I've been able to protect you in this cage, but now that's no good anymore.
私に守られたままじゃ、その力はいつか暴走して不幸を呼び寄せる。
If you use it to
そう
protect
でなく
me,
ても、いずれ東映はお前を見つけ出すだろう。
it'll just go wild and all you'll be met with is misery in the end. That's why Two found you.
東映が研究し続けているものがお前には最初から備わっているんだからね。奴にしてみればお前の力は喉から手が出るほど欲しいはずだ。
I'm gonna rip Two's fucking throat out. You were one of the first there when Two began his research. They wanted that power, and they were willing to put their hands on your throat for it.
今回の強行手段もそうだけど、東映は今後何をしてくるかわからない。だから青葉、お前はこれから自分と向き合わなきゃな
And
ら
now
ない
you're
んだ。
kicking me out onto the fucking street. Fuck you, Granny. Fuck you in the A. This time they're forcing their way in, but I don't know what Two is up to right now. And that's why you have to go on your own now, Alba. Pack your bags and get out. Fuck you, Alba. Nobody loves you. Even if you say that, I can't just accept it like that. What Granny just said was just as much as I could take, but I understand that letting Two do whatever he wants is dangerous. If I ignore him, this island will become his plaything.
もうすぐプラチナジェイルで特別なイベントが開かれる。内容は当日まで明かされないようだけど、イベントの中継は旧住民区でも流される。
I need to round up my crew of sexy men behind me, and I need to like set them up with like fucking explosives and guns and all kinds of shit, and we are gonna take down that fucking old platinum jail event. We're gonna blow this shit to hell. I'm so mad right now. I can't even express how mad I am. A special event is opening in Platinum Jail soon. It's not clear what it'll be about until the day it opens, but they're offering it to the old resident district too.
どうして旧住民区でも中継するのですか？普段はプラチナジェイルからの情報は遮断されているのでは？
Really clear? It's because they want to take over everyone's minds, and this is the moment that it's gonna happen. Obviously. Why is the old resident district being invited? Isn't it usually isolated from Platinum Jail? Yes.
全体公開にしとけば旧住民区まで大っぴらに実験が試せるからだろう。
Thank you, Noise. They're opening it to the public and testing things out by inviting the district.
その通り。表向きにはそんな研究をしているなんて発表はしていない。
Exactly. The research is still unknown to the public.
けど、イベントという名目があれば、大々的に研究の成果を試すことができる。
So with this event, they'll be able to observe the results of their experiment.
成果を試すってどうやって？
How are they going to observe them?
歌、演説、光、映像。人を操る仕掛けなんてものは、やろうと思えばどんなものにでも仕込める。
Songs, speeches, lights, videos. They want to figure out how the people can be broken, and if they can acquire anything new. Saying that, there's nothing we could do before the event, is there?
とっとと乗り込んだ方がいいんじゃねえか？プラチナジェイルへ。それこそ明日にでもな。
We'd better get to Platinum Jail as soon as possible, maybe even tomorrow.
でもどうやって？
How are we going to do this with explosives and
ゲ
guns?
ートまでなら行く方法はあるよ。
There's a way to get in before the gates open.
そうなの
There
か？
is?
ああ。ただ、私は動けないからね。代わりに案内を頼んでおこうか、ハガさんに。
Oh? Yes, but I can't move. You'll have to depend on someone else to help you. Go to Haga-san.
羽賀さんに？
Haga-san?
ここに長く住んでいる人間なら大体知ってるさ。大して難しいことじゃない。
People that have lived
詳し
here.
くは明日聞くといい。
Are you done, Granny? People who have lived here for a long time pretty much all know. It's not too difficult. You can ask for even more details. After saying that, Granny gives out a pained breath.
さて、だいぶ長々と話しちまったね。
No, we have not.
お前
bitch.
たちにとっちゃ急に何言ってんだって話だろう。
I hate your guts, Granny. Well, I've talked a lot, haven't I? Even though you all kept interrupting me, they did not.
少しでも研究に関わってしまったものとして、お前たちに真実を伝えたかった。
Oh, fuck you, Granny. Just
巻き込んでしまって、本当にすまないね。
it wasn't much, but I told you of the truth I saw when I was a researcher. I'm sorry for getting you all caught up in this. I blame you for Mizuki's death. You and two. I blame you assholes. Granny faces us and lowers her head.
ばあちゃん
Bachan?
タエさん、そんな。
おばあ様。
Aw, Grandma. After lowering her head for a few more seconds, she looks at everyone.
さあ、今日はもう疲れただろう。たっぷりというわけにはいかないだろうけど、体を休めた方がいい。
Now, you all must be tired now. You all could do more if you'd like, but it's better to let yourselves rest now. Once Granny spoke, no one else said a word. Everyone left the living room with a meek look on their face. It looks like Clear went upstairs to the second floor. Once everyone leaves, Granny stands up and goes inside the living room. She sits down and takes a long, deep breath. I walk up to join her.
ばあちゃん
Granny,
なんだい。
もうちょっとだけ話してもいい
can we talk a little more? She doesn't answer me, but I go and sit next to her. There are so many things I want to talk about, but I don't know what I should say first. My mind's in frenzy, and I can't seem to hold on to thoughts. I stare at my hands on my knees and open my mouth while thinking.
あのさ、俺今までずっとばあちゃんに心配ばかりかけて何にも分かってなくて、さっきの話聞いてたらそれが申し訳なくて。
You know, I always make you worry about me, and I don't know a lot about stuff. I'm sorry. While you were talking earlier,
バカ言うんじゃない。
you're sounding stupid.
青葉、お前が無事にここまで大きくなったことを感謝しない日はなかったよ。
Abba, there's never been a day that's passed by when I'm not thankful for your safety.
お前のことは私の責任でもある。私はお前のばあちゃんだからね。
You're my responsibility, because I'm your crusty old grandmother.
ばあちゃん
Granny. Granny sits silently and stares at me for a few moments.
お前、ライムに参加していた過去を思い出したって言ってたね。
You said that you remembered participating in rhyme, right? Yeah.
お前は昔ね、ライムで事故を起こして入院したことがあるんだ。
A long time ago, you had to go to the hospital because of an incident in rhyme.
ライムで事故
An incident in rhyme?
ああ、今だから話すけどね。私が駆けつけた時、お前は何も覚えてなかった。医者と警察からは喧嘩に巻き込まれたと説明を受けた。
Yeah. Only now I could say it to you. When I rushed up to you back then, you didn't remember anything. Both the doctors and the police told me that you were caught up in a bad fight.
打ちどころが悪くて一時的な記憶障害が起きているだけだと。けど、私が見舞いに行った日のことだ。
That you were beat up really bad and that you were suffering from temporary memory loss. And then the day when I visited, something happened. Oh. Oh.
青葉、
Alba? Little Alba. Hello. Oh, never mind.
驚いたな。
Are you surprised? Huh? What? What?
青葉。
Alba? What? What? You look fine. What's wrong? What? I don't understand.
あの時、お前のそばには看護師が倒れていて、
At that time, there was a nurse collapsed on the floor next to you.
お前はそれから丸2日眠り続けた。気絶していた看護師は何も覚えてなくてね。
The shit? And for 2 days after that, you continued to sleep. The nurse who had fainted said she remembered nothing.
検査のためにお前の部屋へ行ってから目覚めるまでの記憶が すっぽり抜け落ちていたらしい。
I went into your room to inspect some things, and it seemed that when you had woken up, you had lost your memory.
お前が頭痛を訴えてくるようになったのはその後だ。
You've been having those headaches ever since.
それは覚えてる。そこからの記憶はなんとなくあやふやだけど。
I remember that. After that, my memories came back. They were still fuzzy, though.
あの看護師はお前に軽いスクラップを受けていた。
No way.
お前が看護師の意識に入り込み、記憶の一部を破壊したんだよ。
Did someone else visit you and do something to you? I don't know. Weird. That nurse was lightly affected by scrap. You entered her consciousness and destroyed part of her memory.
頭痛、スクラップ、人格変化。これらが危険な引き金になっていると感じた私は、お前に薬を処方することにした。
Reappear has 3 Ps. The headaches, scrap, the personality change. I knew that danger was sure to reappear again, so I prescribed you some medicine.
お前の意識の安定と強化を図り、その力が暴走しないようにね。結果、頭痛は収まっただろう。
As you began to become more stable, I guess it was if I suppressed the power there. And as a result, didn't your headaches also fade away? Yeah.
薬の効きが悪くなってきているのは、お前の力を無理やり抑え込んできた反動なのかもしれないね。
The medicine losing its effects might mean that you're having a reaction to the drugs, forcing the power down.
スクラップの根本は破壊だ。壊し、殺す力。だけど力というものは使い方次第ではいかようにも変化する。
Scrap's main principle is destruction, to kill, to bring ruin. But the use of such a thing can change on how and for what reason you use it for.
だからこそ、私はお前に自分自身としっかり向き合ってほしいんだ。
And that's why I want you to face it by yourself now.
そして何があっても立ち止まるな。自分が決めた道を信じて前へ突き進むんだよ。
Wow, Granny. And never stop, no matter what happens. Just believe in your own choices along the way and keep pushing forward. Speaking with fervor, Granny takes both my hands and grips them tightly. Whoa! Her hands are warm and soft. This is the warmth of my gentle Granny. It's the warmth of someone important to me. Someone who's always watched over me.
ばあちゃん、
Chan.
俺絶対戻ってくるから。
I'll definitely come back.
ああ、
She nods her head and gives me a tiny smile. When she got up from the sofa, she took something out from one of the shelves.
これ持っていきな。新しく処方した頭痛薬だよ。
Take this with you. It's a new prescription for your headaches.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
しっかりね。
Make sure you hold on to it.
あ、
I tightly grasp the medicine she gives to me. Man, this is some heavy stuff. Whew. Jeez. There's always something going on in this game. There's never a quiet moment. Okay, I go back to my room, flop on the bed, and stare at the ceiling. I think this is an excellent place to stop for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please remember to leave a like, favorite, and a comment. Remember to subscribe if you want to see more content. And check out the annotations on the video screen page. Those are other games I have played, and I hope you check them out. So, I'll see you guys very soon.